Anne, tears welling. The guilt, it's been a physical thing, a weight on my chest. She fetched a worn, leather-bound notebook, her personal shift log, separate from the official records. Her entry for March 15, 1997, was written in a rushed hand, the ink slightly smudged. Asterisk, 23:47, baby girl A born to D, Townsend. 7 pounds 2 ounces Apgar's 9 of 9. Blonde fuzz. Blue eyes, asterisk. Asterisk, 23:58, baby girl be born to L, Morrison. 6 pounds 4 ounces Apgar's 9/9. Dark hair, eyes brown, asterisk. Asterisk 00:32, post-bath incident. Trainee nurse C. Harris became distracted by a code blue on the ward. Placed infants in identical bassinets side by side, forgot to reattach ID bands before leaving to assist. Charge nurse B. Calmly moved bassinets to mother's rooms based on memory, not verifying tags, asterisk. Asterisk 02:15, error discovered by Harris during final check. Both families bonded, had fed, named infants. Panic, asterisk. Asterisk 02:45, emergency meeting with admin, Director R. Ferguson. Decision. Correcting records is simpler, less traumatic than switching infants. Mothers have already bonded. Legal liability catastrophic. Mandate. Official records to show correct times/babies. All staff on duty sign NDAs. Never speak of it. Threat. Termination. License revocation. Legal action. Asterisk. I read it twice, the clinical language unable to mask the horror. They knew. That night, they chose paperwork over people. Margaret nodded, weeping silently. We were told it was the kinder option. Can you imagine taking a newborn from a mother's arms? The lawsuit if we got it wrong? Ferguson was a bean counter. It was a risk assessment decision, not a human one. I was 44. A single mother. I signed. We all did. Linda Morrison, I prompted, my voice thick. She pulled a faded Polaroid from the notebook. 2 bassinets in a nursery, 2 tiny faces. One with a shock of dark hair. One with a cap of pale blonde. That's you, she said, pointing to the blonde baby. And that's Rachel Morrison. She went home with your parents. You went home with hers. She had kept a later, clipped newspaper announcement. Rachel Morrison, honor roll, Springfield Middle School. The girl in the picture had a proud smile and familiar, deep-set brown eyes. Are they good people? I asked, a sob clawing at my throat. Linda was lovely. A sweet woman. Terrified during labor. Her husband, David, was so proud. Margaret looked at me with infinite sadness. He died a few years ago. Cancer. Never knew. The final piece of the theft. Rachel had lost a father she never truly had, and I had been denied a father who would have wanted me. The 3-week wait for the Helix Guard results was an agony of suspended animation. Gerald, true to form, escalated. He sent a mass email to our entire extended family tree, aunts, uncles, cousins, second cousins once removed, 47 people in total. Subject, a matter of family honesty. For 28 years, I have harbored a painful uncertainty regarding my daughter Tori's paternity. Despite my wife's denials, the physical evidence has been apparent. I have asked Tori to take a definitive DNA test to resolve this before her wedding. Her reluctance speaks volumes. Until this is resolved publicly and scientifically, I cannot in good conscience participate in her wedding. I trust you will all understand the importance of truth in a family. Gerald Townsend. Attached was the christening photo, my blonde head circled in garish red with the caption, "Genetics don't lie." The family erupted. My phone blew up with texts ranging from supportive to morbidly curious. Marcus called, angry. You're making us a laughingstock. Just do the damn test and put an end to this. The end is coming, Marcus, I said coldly. But it won't be the one he expects. I contacted Rachel Morrison via Facebook, my message carefully worded. Her response was swift and shell-shocked. We spoke for hours that night, 2 voices in the dark, weaving together the frayed edges of our swapped lives. We agreed to a confirmatory test, her DNA against Gerald and Diane's. The symmetry was chilling. The email from Helix Guard arrived at 9:13 p.m. on a Tuesday. Nathan held me as I opened it. Report, paternity/maternity analysis. Specimen A, Tori Townsend. Specimen B, Gerald Townsend. 0% probability of paternity. 0 shared alleles. Conclusion, excluded. Specimen C, Diane Townsend. 0% probability of maternity. 0 shared alleles. Conclusion, excluded. There it was. In cold, clinical type. Not his. Not hers. I was nobody's daughter. And yet, I was also the key to my mother's lifelong innocence. The scream that tore from me wasn't one of pain, but of release. For her, she was clean. She had told the truth every single day for 28 years. I drove to my parents' house at dawn. My mother was in the sunroom, wrapped in a robe, watching the birds. I showed her the screen. She read it, her lips moving silently. Then she crumbled, great, heaving sobs of grief and vindication. My baby, she cried, clutching me. My real baby is out there. We have to find her. I need to know she was loved. We will, I promised. And you, Mom, you are finally free. Gerald found out when Marcus snooped on my mother's phone. His call was a symphony of triumph. I told you. I told everyone. 28 years, and I was right. Gerald, I interrupted, my voice flat. Read the second page. Silence. Then the rustle of paper. A sharp intake of breath. What is this? This is a trick. This is your mother's doing. It's science, I said. You were right. I'm not your daughter. But you were wrong about everything else. Diane never cheated on you. I am not her daughter either. A hospital switched us. Your biological daughter is a 28-year-old woman named Rachel Morrison living in Springfield. You have spent your life torturing an innocent woman and rejecting a child who was never at fault. Congratulations. You got the truth you demanded. I hope it chokes you. I hung up. He called back a dozen times. I didn't answer. My engagement party was at my grandmother's estate, a deliberate power move. Eleanor insisted. This is neutral territory. This is my land. She invited everyone from the country club debacle. Gerald arrived, a man walking to his own execution, believing he was the executioner. He thought the party was his stage for final victory. After cocktails, he took the microphone. He was magnanimous in his cruelty. Thank you for celebrating Nathan and Tori. I know there's been speculation. Well, the speculation ends tonight. He held up my Helix Guard report. I have here the results of the DNA test. It confirms conclusively that Tori is not my biological child. The murmurs were like a swarm of bees. He smiled, turning to my mother. After 28 years of lies, Diane, the truth is out. That was my cue. I walked to the platform, took the microphone from his startled hand. You're absolutely right, Gerald. The truth is out. I faced the crowd, 60 faces frozen in anticipation. This report does say I am not Gerald Townsend's biological child. The murmuring ceased. Utter silence. My mother, I said, the words ringing clear, never lied. She never betrayed you. She gave birth to a baby girl at 11:58 p.m. on March 15, 1997. I was born at 11:47 p.m. to another woman. In the chaos of that night, a trainee nurse made a mistake. The hospital discovered it and made a calculated, cowardly decision to cover it up rather than correct it. They switched the records, not the babies. They sentenced 2 families to a lie. I nodded to the side door. Nathan opened it. Rachel walked in. The effect was electric. She wore a simple green dress. Her brown Townsend eyes, Gerald's strong jaw, my mother's smile. It was all there, a living genetic testament. The family saw it instantly. A collective gasp rolled through the room. Marcus stood up, his hand over his mouth. This is Rachel Morrison, I announced. The baby born to Diane Townsend at 11:58 p.m. Your biological daughter, Gerald. I clicked the remote. A new slide appeared, Rachel's Helix Guard report. 99.97% match to Gerald. 99.98% match to Diane. And this, I said, nodding to Margaret Sullivan, who stood bravely in the corner, is Margaret Sullivan, the head nurse from St. Mary's that night. She has signed, notarized testimony and her original shift log confirming the switch and the cover-up. The spotlight of truth swung, and it was blinding. Gerald looked at Rachel, at the undeniable proof of himself in her face. He looked at my mother, who stared back with 28 years of exhausted truth. He looked at the evidence on the screen. The arrogance, the certainty, the very core of his identity, vaporized. His knees buckled. He didn't just sit down. He collapsed onto the stage floor, one hand catching him, the other pressed to his forehead as if trying to contain the shattering of his world. My mother did not go to him. She walked across the room, through the parted crowd, and stopped in front of Rachel. She reached out a trembling hand, cupped Rachel's face. "You have your grandfather's chin," she whispered, her voice breaking into 1,000 pieces. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I missed it all." Rachel began to cry. "It's okay. We found each other now." I looked at Gerald, broken on the floor, and felt no triumph, only a vast, hollow pity. He had built his life on a lie of his own making, and the truth had not set him free. It had annihilated him. Chapter 9. The Aftermath, a New Blueprint. What followed was a year of seismic shifts and delicate reconstructions. The lawsuit, Rachel and I, with Eleanor's formidable legal team, sued St. Mary's Hospital. The discovery process was brutal, unearthing memos about liability mitigation and risk-adjusted outcomes. They settled for a substantial, 7-figure sum for each family, a public apology, and a complete overhaul of their newborn identification protocol. The administrator who ordered the cover-up, long retired, was publicly named and stripped of his emeritus status. The families, relationships formed in fits and starts. Rachel and Marcus discovered a spooky kinship, the same irrational hatred of cilantro, the same ability to wiggle their ears, the same niche passion for 19th century naval history. They were siblings, finding a shorthand that had been denied them. Linda Morrison, meeting my biological mother was like stepping into a reflection. Her hugs smelled like lavender and garden soil. She showed me pictures of David, a kind-faced man with laugh lines, my biological father. "He would have adored you," she said, weeping. He thought Rachel was perfect, but he always said she had an old soul stare he couldn't place. That was my stare. We are building something new and tender, a relationship with its own rhythm, not replacing Diane, but expanding my heart. The hospital stole 11 minutes and altered destinies. Gerald spent 28 years building a prison of suspicion. But love, it turns out, is the ultimate remodeler. It can take the most broken of blueprints and, over time, with patience and truth, build something entirely new, something stronger, because it knows the cost of the foundation. My name is Victoria Eleanor Miller. My story is no longer a question. It is an answer, loud and clear, and finally, blessedly, my own.